Can I just say, from an outside perspective, because obviously we're down south, I actually think that Arsenal have a bigger rivalry with Manchester United than Manchester City.
That's nonsense.
I'm sorry, but if you want to talk about Premier League and history, Arsenal and Manchester United dominated the Premier League for more than a decade. Ferguson versus Wenger, league titles, Battle of Old Traffords, all these type of things. The rivalry between Arsenal and Manchester United, honest to God, I think is bigger because, you know, like it's already been said, Manchester City, they've come onto the scene now and everything else, but nobody looks at them as a rival. There's no real history of rivalry apart from postcodes in Manchester.
Did you hear a word I just said? I'm on mute, as you guys are all reminding me there. I was just saying that DT on that video is stirring the pot. It's a series called Hold It L, and it's over on the Skybet channel. I'm going to put the link in the description, all right? Make sure you jump onto that and check it out. DT, as usual, he's brilliant on it. That's ahead of the Manchester derby, and he's somehow found a way to wind up the City fan and the Manchester United fans. So make sure you check that one out. But I am here to talk about referees. I wonder why you guys are all saying to yourself, why is Robbie come on to talk about referees? Because I'm still fuming about the decision today in that game. Now, I know that's not the only reason why we drew the game today. Our poor finishing was really, really bad. You know, we should have been out of sight in the first half. You know, started off well, got that goal from Aubameyang. Then, you know, we were all over them. You know, two great chances for Saka. On another day, he puts those away, but he didn't put those chances away. Aubameyang had another chance as well. I swear we could have been about 3-1 up in the first, or 3-0 up in the first half. Going into the second half, we weren't great, but still, we had enough chances to win the game. You know, I see, where was it? There was somebody saying there that we were very lucky today. Here it is, Brad. Brad the lad says, you were lucky today, I feel. We weren't lucky. You know, they had a lot of ball in the second half, Burnley. But it was only really that one big chance they had through Chris Wood, who's a great save by Leno. But then, you know, again, Pepe misses an easy chance. The goal's gaping, you know. And at the end, we hit the post. But for me, the big talking point is, as Omar says here, he says, VAR is a disgrace. It's not the reason we haven't got, it's not the only reason we haven't got the 3 points today, but it's a big reason. And I just needed to talk about VAR today because I'm just like fed up with it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm totally fed up with the way in which VAR has been run and controlled this season. And do you know what? I mean, I was interviewing a lot of the guys after the game, and there were a lot of people saying, oh, Robbie, there's an agenda against Arsenal, etc., etc. I don't agree with this agenda against Arsenal thing. Although I was looking at some stats, right, about VAR before coming on to do this show, and the teams that have the most decisions overturned this season have been Arsenal and Liverpool. So they've been on the wrong end. Arsenal, I think it's Arsenal, Liverpool, and West Brom. All jointly, we've had the worst, you know, we've had the worst of it. We've had the most decisions overturned. Now, I don't think it's an agenda. I'm not going to go with an agenda against Arsenal. A lot of, you know, Ty was saying it today. Kelechi was sort of touching on it. A few fans were touching on it. I don't think it's an agenda against Arsenal. I just think VAR is, you know, the way it's been run is being really, really poor. I've just put it down to the referees at the moment. They're just not good enough. They are just not good enough. Ascended High Lord says, United fan here, Kevin Friend is defo biased towards Burnley. Manchester United last week, I was doing a watch along on the Don Robbie channel. It was Manchester United versus Chelsea. Hudson-Odoi literally punches the ball right in front of the referee. They go to VAR, they don't give it. I'm like, don't get me wrong. I ain't no United fan, as you know. I don't really care about United. But watching the game, I'm like, yeah, how can you get that wrong? It's so clear and obvious. The one today now. Let me get to today's game. Peters has got his hands out like that. Is that a natural position for a footballer? He's got both hands out as if he's a goalkeeper. Is that a natural position? Is he what? Is he an aeroplane, as I said earlier to the guys? I mean, how was that not given? How was the referee, and I'm not even going to blame strictly the referee who was on the pitch, even though, as DT pointed out when I did a fan cam, the linesman is stood right in front of it. Shouldn't even need to go to VAR. He should be flagging his flag and saying handball. How can the VAR person at Stockley Park not say to go to the screen? I think it was Kevin Friend. How can he not send the referee to the screen and say, you know what? It looks like he's handballed it, but you know what? You go and double check it. You're on the pitch. How? Honestly, I just like the one last week, just like I've been seeing them time and time again this season, and it's not good enough. And it's time to talk about these referees. Something's got to be done. Something's got to be done about the poor standard of refereeing in this country. By the way, that guy said unlucky. Sorry, apologies. Unlucky. Apologies, man. I thought you were saying lucky. How was that? How was that? I mean, you can tell I'm still fuming, yeah? I'm still fuming about it because how do you get these things wrong? How is it that every single person that's watching that, even if you're a Burnley fan, can see that the decision's wrong, and those guys who are sat there with computers to help them, they've got every angle. How do they get that wrong? Somebody please tell me. You know? Bijou says, we can't even name one good ref in the Premier League. It's a disgrace. Get their audio on so that we know and we will see more correct decisions. That's a great shout. I want to hear what they got to say. We go on Thursday, Arteta in, he says, right? He's right. What is who's the good referee in the Premier League? I don't know. Reese Greggy says, just make every handball handball. The rules are so confusing for the refs and the fans. It's making football unbearable to watch, Don Rob. Thank you. Listen, it's true. Maybe you should do that. If it hits your hand, it's handball. If it don't, I don't know, man. I don't know what to do no more about this handball thing. It's mad. You know, it's mad. Mohammed, a bit off subject, says, what are your plans with watch-alongs after fans are allowed back in? Keep up the good work. For everyone on AFTV, we've got some big plans, Mohammed. So look out for that. When it comes around nearer the time, we're thinking ahead. But how? How? Vinchanu says, even the dinosaur, Peter Walton, is surprised that was a penalty wasn't given. Even Peter Walton. Even Peter Walton, for you guys who might be abroad, Peter Walton's, he's always in the studio on BT Sports, and he never, ever wants to go against the referees. Even he said, no. This one, come on. We saw in that game the good and the bad of VAR. The good, and you're probably going to think, boy, Robbie's gone mad in saying the good. The decision, and both of these decisions centered around Eric Peters. When the ball's hit at him, it hit his shoulder. He was shown a red card. VAR intervenes and says, no. Referee, it's hit him on the shoulder. To you and the naked eye and the speed it went, and that, it looked like it hit him on the hit him on his arm, but it didn't. It hit him on his shoulder. Look at it again. We've looked at it again. Hit him on the shoulder. Got to reverse that red card. He shouldn't be sent off, and it's not a penalty. Even though at the time, don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have got a penalty. That was the right decision. If you look, everybody who was watching it on the watch along said, nah. When we saw, as soon as we saw it back, we're like, nah, man, that's hit his arm. That's hit his shoulder. It's not a penalty. Everyone apart from Ty. But everybody else was like, nah. Right decision. The handball, every single person could see the fingers hit the man's hand. His hand is not in a natural position. You got defenders, they got their arms behind their back. Their arms are behind their back when the ball is being played because they're so scared of their hand being out and the ball touches it. And this guy's got his hands out like he's flying, and that's not a penalty. No. Seriously, something now has to be done. I mean, who do these referees answer to? Do they get demoted? I ain't seen none of these referees get demoted down. You know, they say sometimes they get demoted down to another division. I don't see that. What's the consequences of a terrible decision? You know? Big Josh says lots of players are putting the incident on their stories. Robbie with a caption. Exactly. Regardless of we still had enough chances to win the game. We did, Josh. Let's just get that out of the way right now. We had enough chances to win the game, right? Definitely. Mikel Arteta, even though he'd be really angry about the referee decision, is definitely going to steam into his players and say, listen, come on. We gave the game away. Granit Xhaka, what was he doing? But I don't even want to talk about that. We go and watch all the fan cams, everything like that. We've spoken about that enough. I think this is a Burnley fan there. Hand of God, he says. Our guys, you know that, right? They'd have probably got that wrong as well with Maradona if they had VAR. Zane says, who cares about the ref? Arteta out. Look, I care about the refereeing. The refereeing standard in this country, in the Premier League, not just for Arsenal, is terrible. Terrible. Rubbish. Worse than in other countries. Worse. Rubbish. How was that not a penalty? And it's all right, you know, we can say we had enough chances. We know all that. We know all that. But how many times have you seen games of football where teams have had a lot of chances, missed them, but you know what, they get a penalty and they win the game? It's not about that. It's about the game being run in a fair way. And it's not at the moment. And I'm not just, and once again, I'm not just saying, I don't go along with the agenda thing, because it's all teams. It's happening to everybody because they're just useless. This guy says United had the same incident last week ruled out. That's what I was talking about. That game last week with Hudson-Odoi obviously handled the ball. No penalty. They looked at it about 10 times as well on that one. Nothing. Abdullah says there's more chance of Spurs winning a trophy than seeing an English ref make it to the Euros this season. When Peter Walton can't defend you, you know it's really bad, right? And he's right. He's right. Sottery says if it was David Luiz, it would have been a penalty. Yeah, that's very true, because we've already seen with some of the decisions this season, and Peter Walton himself actually gave it away when he said, oh, well, there's certain players they look at. And you know what I mean? I know referees are human beings, yeah? But now you've got a computer to help you out. You can rewind it, go forward, look at this angle, that angle. But that's been brought into... Do you reckon maybe this is what's happening? Maybe the referees are like, maybe they're angry about VAR. Maybe they're like, yeah, we were going along quite nicely as we were. We didn't want no VAR. Now you've gone and brought this thing in now. You know what? We're going to deliberately mess it up so you get rid of it. I don't know. Maybe it's that. Because honestly, How can they get so many things wrong? Right? How? Jono says referees or those people at Stockley Park should be made to be interviewed about these situations like these. Surely it would help us fans understand how they came to this decision. You're very right. I want to hear them come out and tell us. I also, as somebody said earlier, I want to see them mic'd up. I want to hear what they're talking about. I want to hear what they're talking about. Why was that not given today? I'd love to hear that. You know? Babby says VAR is just debatable at this point. The good, the bad, they will never remove it. Well, I don't know. I think maybe these referees, I don't know, man. Are they just trying to get rid of it deliberately? You know? Winfred says, do you think we are seeing the decline of the Prem? Less competitive, shocking refs, boring big games. And what did you make of Wenger's comments about offside? There's been some poor games this season. I think a lot of that's to do with no fans being there. I think that has ruined the quality of games we've seen this season. Wenger's comments, I agree with. When Arsene Wenger said, you know, this is the other one, when you've got these offside decisions and they're drawing these lines and stuff like that. And again, I saw one the other night where the player's armpit it's ridiculous. You don't even know what time you don't know exactly when the ball has left the foot of a player. But I think with the offside ones, the benefit of the doubt, when it's marginal, I think they should give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker because you can't be 100% sure. So maybe they should come up with some sort of margin of error, and then if it's inside that, you give it to the attacker. And I think that's what Wenger's talking about, and I think he's spot on with that. But yeah, I think, as I said, with the games, there's no fans there, and that's made it really, really difficult. Donald said there's an agenda against Arsenal, period. The refs in the Premier League will make the Premier League so bogus in the next couple of years that nobody will watch. All rubbish. Who misses such a penalty appeal? How? He's right. It's damaging to the Premier League. It is actually, right now, with what's going on with VAR and the standard of refereeing, is damaging the standard of the Premier League without a doubt. That is no doubt. You know? Brad says, apart from Aubameyang's goal, we couldn't do anything in their box. We had chances. We had loads of chances. Where does Aubameyang? Saka could have had 2 goals. I don't even want to talk about that right now. I'm talking about the refs. Fortnite says the Premier League is corrupt. I don't know if it's that. I don't want to think that, but I just don't get some of these decisions. Ilias says VAR isn't the problem, it's the refs who are officiating it. At times, they have different views, hence why they are some controversial decisions. Yeah, but that's what they get paid for, to referee a game. They get paid. And VAR, video assistant referee. Listen to the words. Video assistant referee has been brought in to help them. How can something be brought in to help you and it makes you worse? Oh my God, man. Oh God. Alistair says the offside rule be changed next year, maybe, but our guys will still find a way to mess it up. Don't worry about that. Oh, don't worry about that. Patrick says, I actually can't wait for the Euros now. There's actually going to be a competent refs there. When I've seen the referees in Europe, I mean, what I don't like in Europe, actually, when I'm watching the Europa League games, Champions League games, the one thing I don't like, that I do prefer in the Premier League, is that when there's a decision, they don't really show it back. You just sort of see the referee listening, and they don't so their communication is poor as well. What is it about football that we're so snobbish in this sport? It's supposed to be the working man's game, right? But you will not see a more snobbish sport when it comes to changing rules and moving with the times than football. They never want to change. This technology has been around for years. They don't want to. Something major has to happen. You know, look how long it took us to bring in the goal line technology. That was around for ages. They were using it in things like tennis. They were using it in cricket. All these sports. Football, well, we don't need it. It's taken away from the referees. FIFA, we don't want to bring it in. Now they've brought it in, works a treat. No more problems on. Remember Lampard when he scored that goal for England? How much that cost us? Took ages to bring that in. It had to be loads of horrible decisions for them to finally crack. VAR is here, and it's a good thing, I feel, if used properly by the referees, but it's not. It's terrible the way they're using it. Kartik says, Robbie, I think the referees are doing this on purpose, as bringing VAR has hurt their pride. I'm starting to think that. You know, because seriously, the one today, no, please, in the past week, I've seen two like it. The one today, the one in that Man United Chelsea game, those are two that come to my mind straight away. Why weren't they given? If those are given, nobody complains. Nobody says, oh, referee, what are you doing? 90% of people watching both of those decisions are like, penalty. The Hudson-Odoi one last week in the United game, I thought to myself, first of all, Greenwood touched it first. Soon as the VAR showed it back, and it was obvious that Greenwood hadn't touched it, and it hit Hudson-Odoi, I'm like, well, why are they watching it back for? What are they watching it back for? You know what I mean? Everybody can see that's a handball. What's it going back and forth for? The one today, obvious. This guy's watching it back. I'm like, yeah, what's hurry up, man. Go get the penalty sorted. Oh, bro, I tell you, man. Liam Burns says refs and VAR should be mic'd up like in rugby. What they got to hide? It's not just the English ones. They do it as well in Europe as well. Why can't we hear what they're saying? Do it in the other sports. Like you said, in the rugby, you can hear the referee clearly talking. In cricket, you hear them talking. You even hear the cricket guy saying, "Oh, can you rewind back that? Can I see that again?" What's wrong with football? Who are we? Why are we so snobbish that, oh no, we're above that? Why? Neil says, yo, Robbie, can you wish my mate Vinay a happy birthday? Happy birthday going out to you. Why? Jai says, refs in the Indian League do a better job. No doubt, every league. These ones over here are incompetent. Decore says, the Premier League needs to put cameras in the VAR booth like the Bundesliga. Remember last year in the Premier League, we had the pitch side monitors, but no referee ever used them. They were just there. And they're like, well, why have we got these monitors at pitch side and no one ever uses them? Oh, they don't want to use it. How can you have a referee in Stockley Park who's another referee who then makes a decision on our next referee? Is that not open to that person saying, you know what, boy, that's a bit dodgy, you know, but that's my friend out there, you know. I don't really want to make him look bad in front of everybody. So, yeah, let's stick with the decision on the pitch. How can that be? The person who's in Stockley Park, getting some ex-players who played the game, that know the game, let them do it. That don't know the referees that are on the pitch. Because you know what? The referees on the pitch, the referees at Stockley Park, they're all mates. They all referee games together. They'll all be, you know, they're like a little clique, the referees, isn't it? There's a group of them who referee the Premier League games. They all know each other. You'll have a game, you'll have two assistant referees, and you'll have the fourth official. They're all mates. They all work together. They all referee together. Yeah? They're all friends. Who is a good referee in the Premier League? Let me go through. I had a list there earlier. Name me the good referees. All right. Mike Dean, is he a good referee? No. Martin Atkinson? No. Michael Oliver, I used to, like Kelechi said today, I used to think he was decent. He's dropped off. Lee Mason, awful referee. Awful. Anthony Taylor, poor. John Moss, useless. Stuart Atwell, no. Craig Pawson, oh, we all remember him. No. Paul Tierney, actually, he ain't bad. He ain't bad. Paul Tierney ain't bad. Chris Kavanagh, no. Well, maybe. Who's the good referees in the Premier League? You know, maybe I'm being too harsh. You guys, let me know who's been the good referees that you've seen this season. Jesus. Jay as well says, remember last season, if VAR got all our decisions right, we would have finished fourth. Listen, I know some decisions are going to be, listen, they're human beings, but the one like today, there's no excuse. No excuse. Vishnu says Paul Tierney. Yeah, I think he ain't bad. He's not bad. Ignis says, honestly, the controversy around VAR is irrelevant. You can't be that poor on goal and constantly rely on a nut. All right. Listen, we know that, yeah? We know that we miss chances. But still, I'm dealing with the referee now. We've been dealing with that all day. The chances we miss, the Granit Xhaka mess up, that's all down to the players. And you know what? They're getting a lot of stick for it. Saka will get stick. A lot of fans went in on him a bit today. Listen, not too harsh because they know that normally he's good, but they went in on him today. Granit Xhaka got it from the fans today. They went in on him because he made a horrible mistake. No doubt his manager's gone in on him, yeah, because he made a horrible mistake. Probably some of his teammates are like, yo, Xhaka, what's that, bro? They've gone in on him. Who's going in on the ref? He's made a terrible mistake as well. Who, despite having videos to help him out, who's going in on them? That's why I'm doing this video. That's why I want to talk about it. Because who are they answerable to? Who do they answer to? Who? Do you know? Anyone know? What happens to them if they give a bad decision? They talk about them being demoted sometimes. When? I don't see none of them getting demoted. Mike Dean, how many terrible decisions has he made this season? And don't get me wrong, I thought it was disgusting the other day when people are sending him like death threats and that. Disgusting. Take that out of this because those are not proper fans. Those are idiots. That's not how you deal with this. But who's he answerable to for the bad decisions? Who? Those players today, those Arsenal players, despite the chances they missed and everything, they're sitting in there in the change room after the game and they're thinking, you know what, despite us not doing what we should have done, we got cheated by the referee. The ref, there's four referees at a game, a referee, assistant referee, fourth official, and the VAR, and all five of them looked at that and said that's not a penalty. Now, come on, man. Come on. Seriously now. Seriously. Brad says, meant to say the refs still angry. Big up, Brad. Seriously. Who are these men answering to? I think after the game, Arteta having a go at the referee. Honestly, everybody else is answerable, as I said today. Everybody else, the players, they're all going to get cussed for their performance. Quite rightly so. Should have done better. Should have won that game. But who do they answer to? These guys that, to me, they've ruined the game. Unless you're a Burnley fan, they've ruined the game. If you're a neutral fan watching the game, you're like, yo, what's that? It's undermining the game right now. I'm being honest. It's undermining the game. And as I said, I'm not just talking about Arsenal. I'm talking about a lot of games that I've watched this season. It's undermining the game. You know? Here we go again. Bro, didn't you just hear what I said? Lewis, big up yourself. No disrespect, yeah? Were you saying you cannot blame the refs and VAR just because Arsenal ain't pulling their weight? Listen, we know that. So does that mean that I'm not talking this? That's a separate show. Arsenal not pulling their weight. We've spoken about that a lot. What I'm talking about now is refereeing. That's very important, especially when you're struggling. It's very important that they get it right. And I'm saying they get too many decisions, not just wrong, horribly wrong. Lewis, did you think that was a handball today? Yes or no? That's all I want to know. Because I've spoken to Arsenal fans, obviously, after the game. I've spoken to neutral fans. Everybody's like, it's handball. The only people who didn't think it was a handball was those guys at Stockley Park. I want to see Stockley. They must have some drinks down there. Something's going on down at Stockley Park, bro. Because I don't know what they're looking at down there, man. Maybe the feed ain't getting to them from the ground or something like that. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Serious. But something, I don't know. Matt says they need to bring in championship ref. All right, he's trying to bait me. I'm not in the mood for no baiting, right? With your Ben. I'm not in the mood for no baiting, bro. This is a serious subject. Vishy says, start a campaign along with the fans to make these refs answerable. Do you know the other reason? I said this a couple of weeks ago. Do you know the other reason why the refs should be even better this season? Because there's no fans there. There's no fans to pressure them. There's no fans to influence them. You know, normally we'd be in a game and we'd be, referee. And loads of us would be making up noise and the referee might blow his whistle. You know, that's why a lot of times they say, like, home teams get a lot of decisions. We ain't there. Right, so they can concentrate even more because we ain't even there to influence them. And they're still even worse than ever. Bruv. How? We ain't even there. Oh, bro. Man. Oh, wait a minute. Lewis, come back. Let's get Lewis again. Lewis says it was handball. Right, so Lewis, thank you. But Pepe played on. He should have stopped play. No. You're getting this wrong now, Lewis. He said he should have stopped play and made it clear to the ref. If we won the game, we weren't replying on it. Nobody's talking about the handball. No, Lewis, I'm talking about. We're doing a whole show about the handball. 2,000 people watching live right now, right? And people have been talking about it all day since the game's finished. And you don't play on. He appealed. He appealed, and he's like, but you've got to keep playing on until there's a break in play, then they check it. That's the rules now. And that's exactly what he did. Boy, I tell you that. Jay says, Robbie, I wouldn't be surprised if the refs are probably betting on the game secretly. I don't know. Matt says, is it just me who thinks that the refs in the Europa League are much better? Obviously, they make wrong decisions, but nothing like the Premier. No, I agree with you, Matt. The ones that we've had in the Europa League this season have been better than the ones in the Premier League. It's only that the only thing I don't like in the Europa League is, like I said, the one thing that's better in the Premier League is that they show the replays and that they don't. I notice in Europe, they don't do that, UEFA. But again, it's part of the snobbishness of football where they don't. It's like it's got to be some hidden thing. Why? They don't do it in other sports. Why is it like that in football? Who are we? Kingsley Opera said, I was dead wrong about thinking VAR would help to reduce the way refs treat Arsenal. It now shows clearly how these refs treat us. As I said, you know, if, excuse me, there's a table on how VAR decisions have affected various clubs in the Premier League. And when it comes to decisions that have been overturned, you know, we're right up there at the top. You know, we've had a lot of bad decisions, but it ain't just been Arsenal. It's not just been Arsenal. There's just been so many bad decisions. You know, how many? And then some of it is down to the rules being ridiculous. We saw the other day that you know, they're going to change the handball rule because that game in Fulham, balls blasted out. That weren't the referee's fault because that's the actual rules. It's been an absolute. It's dreadful. It is dreadful, man. It's an absolute mess at the moment. Absolute mess. You know? Oh. Ethan says, I agree. Past players should be making the decisions like F1. It has past drivers to take the situation into account about reviewing incidents. Very good. Very good point, Ethan. Very good point. Jimmy says, Robbie, this is ridiculous. I can't believe that the best league in the world has the worst refs. They have it out for Arsenal. Right? Drew Lister says, today was 100% not a penalty. Look at a few games, Chelsea, etc. Same handball not given. No, that Chelsea one the other day was a penalty as well. That was another horrendous decision. That's what I was talking about earlier. How 100% to not a penalty. So why are all these players running around with their arms behind their back for? Why did they do that, Drew? Answer me that. Or is it just the latest fashion? Why? They're so desperate to get their hands out of the way, but yet still this guy's got like he's flying. 100% that he's a Burnley fan. And even a Burnley fan will know he got away with it. Mikey G says, referees are poor. They do not allow us to hear what they say because there is an agenda, not just with Arsenal, with the results of the game. I think it's a thing that they don't want us to hear, not because it's anything to do with Arsenal in specific. They just don't, you know, they just don't want to get embarrassed. It's it's referees protecting referees. And as I said, who do they answer to? Do they answer to the Premier League? Who do they answer to? At the end of the season, who do they answer to? Who do they answer to? Mike Riley, who's another referee. Little Lightning says, it annoys me that the officials don't explain themselves after the game, and if the players or manager question them, they get fined. Exactly. Mikel Arteta says anything today, boom, big fine on him. Bradbury says the FA will never do anything. They are the ones that upheld the Louise red card. Remember that? Another ridiculous decision. Upheld. Cameras there to help you. Obviously not done deliberately. Obviously, if it was even a foul at all, but listen, if it was, he obviously didn't do it deliberately, but no, you're banning for games. Oh, I don't know. Jammer says, what does it help if you can hear them? They can rewatch VAR decisions and they don't do it anyway. It changes nothing if we can hear them. Their decisions will be just as bad. No, I think it does, because if we can hear them, it embarrasses them into try to be honest. When you can't hear them, they can be like, They got to give when you can hear them, you've got to give a good reason. Esclamo says they gave on Sky, the reason they gave on Sky was proximity. I heard that rubbish as well. So stupid, because it allows defenders to have their hands wherever it is, so long as they don't get close to the attacker. Now, I heard this thing about proximity. I think the referees tried to, it was into BT Sport, go into BT Sport and say, oh no, this is why we haven't. They knew that they were in problems. It was the proximity. He wasn't smashed at him from 5 yards. It didn't come at any pace. I'm sorry, it's handball. Kay says, Robbie, I respect your opinion fully, but do not think the refs have an agenda. I'm fed up of it. I don't think they have an agenda against Arsenal. I don't think they have an agenda against particular football teams. I just feel that they're incompetent. Simple as that. Nobody's given me a good referee yet. I think Paul Tierney's the only name that's come up. I can't think of any other decent referee in the Premier League where I'm like, yeah, he's good, man. When he does a game, might get it wrong the odd time, but no, I can't think of any. Paul Tierney's not bad. He's not bad. That's about the only one I'll give any that I'll say, you know, not bad. Mike Ham says the NBA took the challenge rule from the NFL. 2 challenges per game. If the coach believes there's a mistake or foul, you can call a challenge, force the ref to go to the screen. That might not be a bad shout. I've heard that mentioned before. That might not be a bad shout. I'm not sure if it will suit the pace of football. We do know that, like American sports, they do have a lot of breaks in the sport, so it's kind of easier to do that. But I don't know, man. Right, I'm going to do a couple more. Danger Close says the on-field and VAR refs need to work for 2 separate companies. I agree. Can't all be mates. Are you going to give a load of bad decisions against your mate and make him look bad? You ain't, are you? You're not. It's your bro. You know what I mean? You don't want to make him look bad in front of the world week in, week out. Keelan says, I was watching the game on BT Sport and Peter Walton said the rule book said in the rule book that was handball. So why did they not give it? In other games, I've seen refs give much harsher handballs. And I think that sums it right up. I think I'm going to end it right there. I'm fuming still. I'm angry. But there's nothing we can do about it. A lot of you have made the right and true point that, you know what, we should have been out of sight anyway. We should have won the game. Granit Xhaka shouldn't have done the stupidness that he'd done, and we would have won the game anyway. But something needs to be done about these terrible referees and these terrible decisions that they are messing up week in, week out. And they are ruining the game of football in the Premier League. Thanks for watching the show. Don't forget the link for Sky Bet is in the description. You want to watch that video with DT. Don't forget to check out all of our videos from today around the game. Some great opinions there. Don't forget to also check out my brand new channel, the Don Robbie channel. The link is in the description. We had a great Best of Enemies show this week with expressions. Make sure you check that out. Yeah, I'm off to have I'm going to have a drink right now. Strong drink and drown my sorrows. No match of the day for me tonight. I am peed off with what I saw today. But have yourself a great evening.